Alright guys, as you can see, we're under the hood of the truck again. This time it's the radiator that decided to suddenly spring a leak on me. And it's only 2 years old, so the store is going to warranty it. I have the new one here in the box. So we're going to show you how to change out the radiator on a 98 GMC. I've already taken the cap off. And we're going to take this hose clamp off. This runs to the overflow tank. And mine's a clamp, not one of those squeeze ones. So it was I think it's a 1/4 inch socket or 7mm. Pretty much it's just basically disconnecting hoses. We're going to take that off and set that off to the side. The biggest obstacle is to get the shroud out of the way, and it is all 10mm bolts. I do not have all of mine. Some of them are missing. But there's 3 on top, and the outer 2 also hold the bracket for the radiator in, so you're doing half of the radiator support removal. And I just find holes to stick these bolts in so that I don't lose them. Okay, those are the top 3. And I'm going to try and grab you and show you. So, down here, you can see here, right here, there's a 10mm bolt here, and there should be one over here. But both of mine over here are missing, so I only have 2, and that holds everything in. One. And there's 2. So now the top of the shroud should come right out. Once you get your wire harness out of the way for the battery cable, it just sinks down in here into this little tray here. And then and that removes the top of the shroud. Set that off to the side, and your radiator is pretty much exposed. I'm just going to tuck the wires up here, and they're not going to stay, so they're going to sit behind the fan. Oh yeah, well, there's two 10mm bolts holding the bottom on. I'm going to try and work around them if I can, because I don't know if I can get at them from the top or not. So now I'm going to remove the upper radiator hose over here, and this one is still a squeeze clamp, so I'm going to take my pliers, grab hold of it and squeeze it. Squeeze it tight and just wiggle it back until it gets over the larger section of the radiator that helps hold it in. And then just slide it off and get some antifreeze everywhere. It's always good. I'm going to tuck that out of the way here. Now next up is I have training line coolers here, and because this is a bit of a newer style truck, it does not have the clip lines to clip into the tranny. It's got the old style turn lines, and I had to put special fittings that they gave me with the other radiator, and one side is a 19mm. It's probably a standard, but I don't have any standard wrenches here. And the actual line side for the training line, I've got a 16. It's probably like a 5/8. But first you crack your training line loose, and hopefully it's not too rusted. Because you have two training lines on one side. You have upper and lower, and this is the upper. And it's loose. So now we go down to the lower, if we can reach it. This is probably where you want to take the whole fan shroud out, but I can move it back enough to work. So now we're gonna crack the second one loose. Or not. Oh crap. You think I tightened it. There it is. I did tighten it. Too much. You kind of don't have to do that either. And you are going to get a little bit of train fluid out of the bottom one, because whatever's in the cooler is going to run out once you crack that line loose. But it's never very much, so honestly you don't have to worry too much about, you know, your train fluid level. Because the fluid coming out of there is really not a whole lot of fluid. The biggest mess is ever going to make is a coolant. And there's a valve on the bottom of your radiator that you can turn to drain. And I would recommend that before you do this, but I'm not doing that because I just don't care right now, because that takes time too. And we're trying to get this video done quickly for you guys without missing any steps this time. So now we got the lower training line out of the way. And I'm not sure if these other fittings are going to come with the new radiator or not. So I'm not going to take them off this radiator yet. And as I've said in some of my other videos, I have the 1500 heavy duty. So my radiator has oil cooler on the other side. So I have to deal with those lines. And those are probably 13/16 or something, but I have found a 20mm wrench is going to work just fine for those two lines. Every time I pick you up, I got to reposition. So right now, we've got the upper rad hose off. We've got both training lines off over here. And actually, I am going to go after the lower radiator hose. Which I have a regular twisty clamp on, which is 8mm. If I can get down in there. Apparently not with that. So we're going to overkill it and use the big ratchet because I don't have enough extensions for my little ratchet. If it'll even fit down in there. Which is not cooperating very well that way. See if this is doing anything. Well, it did loosen it up. So it is working at a different angle, but we're going to try and get it a little looser and pop it off of there so I can get the hose off. Okay. Now this is going to drain your everything out of your engine block and everything when you pop the little radiator hose off. So it's loose. There it goes. And we'll just let that drain. So the last two connections are going to be the two oil cooler lines for me. You guys may not have the heavy duty radiator. You may not have the oil cooler lines. So that's a step you won't have. But I'm also going to lose a little bit of oil, whatever's in the cooler, and that's fine. Because you can always check the oil level and refill it at your convenience. So that's the upper line. And again, the fan shroud's in the way of the lower line. But if you push it forward a little bit, you can work around it. So everything that this lower shroud is in the way a little bit. If you don't feel like removing it, all you got to do is push the ends out of the way so you can work. Okay, so now everything is disconnected for me. Now we're back to the last two bolts up here that hold the radiator support, or the radiator under the support. And like I said earlier, two of them come out with a shroud, and the other two are still here, and it's 10 millimeter. So now I'm going to pull the 8 millimeter off and put the 10 millimeter back on. And what happened is I was idling in a drive-thru for over 30 minutes a couple of weeks ago. I've been nursing this for a couple of weeks now. And just sitting there idling because their drive-thru was really slow. And I got home and I shut the truck off. And all of a sudden, smoke started pouring out from under the hood. And I'm like, well, why is my truck smoking? And then, even before I popped the hood, I looked underneath, and the left side here, the antifreeze is just dripping right out of it, almost running right out of it under pressure. And I popped the hood, and there was steam everywhere, and antifreeze everywhere. And I was a little upset because this radiator isn't even 3 years old. And it should not be leaking like that. It should not have blown up like that. And this last bolt shouldn't be this hard to take out. So it took me a couple of days to find the receipt, and I gave it to my boss, and it said limited lifetime warranty on the receipt. So my boss worked his magic for me and got him to at least warranty it this time anyways. Hopefully it does not happen again. So make sure you grab your rubber support piece and don't lose that on either side, and just set them off to the side. Now your radiator is ready to just lift right out of here. Just like that. And your radiator is out. And then back in. So we're going to set this on the ground here once we take it back out. Okay, I'll find my wrench later. I'll give you guys a good look at the radiator here in a second. As soon as I get my gloves off so I can handle the camera, because they're all kind of a little oily now from the engine oil and training fluid. So there's a nice new radiator. So what we're looking at here, this is the left side that was leaking, and from the looks of this down here is possibly where the breach happened, because it's all kind of, you know, nasty looking and everything. I'm not really seeing evidence of a crack anywhere, but like I said, this radiator, it still looks brand new because it's only 2.5 years old. So like I said, I have the heavy duty, which means I have 2 cooler lines over here for the oil. And then most of the new radiators have those clip connects like the Monte Carlo radiator, which I couldn't show you because I needed that at work. So this radiator came with these fittings, which I'm going to take off. And I don't know what this plug is for, but it was there, and it's really cracked. So I'm hoping the new radiator has one on it too. So we're going to save these in case I need them. Because I'm not sure if I would think the new radiator would come with them, but you never know. You never know. So but that's how easy it is to take them off. Now I did use the Teflon tape on these just to make sure they didn't leak, because you can't never be sure they're not going to leak. So I'm going to prep the new radiator and come back in a minute. So I got a problem. I'm gonna have to cut this video short because it's Saturday, and they sent my boss the wrong radiator. Even with the right part number, they sent the wrong radiator. I do not have the oil cooler lines on this radiator, so the truck is officially down for a couple days till I get back into work and get the right radiator. So there's going to be a part 2 on changing your radiator for your 98 GMC or Chevy pickup. But this will apply to most radiators too, so I apologize again for that. It happens a lot at work. We get the wrong parts all the time. So I appreciate everybody who's subscribed so far. I'd like to see it grow more. If y'all need any other questions answered, let me know, and If there's something that you would like to see that I could possibly do, I'll do it if I can get a hold of whatever car you want to see. Or I can do a demonstration on the truck or whatever else I have around me. Because I'm interested in sharing all my knowledge with anybody. And in my description it says, you know, I don't do things necessarily by the book, but I found ways to make things work. You know, over 30 years you learn little tricks, and most of the time they work out okay. So if you like, comment below, and subscribe if you'd like to. I'd like it if you did. So till part 2, have a good one.